Did you ever notice that Oda showed us signs of Luffy's Fruit Awakening and use of Haki from several other characters in the earliest arcs of the story? I will try to convince you about some scenes in the manga showing exactly this, and why I think that Oda had Haki and Awakening planned right from the start of the saga. Let's jump into a real quick definition of Haki. By using their own spiritual energy, users can utilize Haki for various purposes, such as sensing people's spiritual energy and predicting their actions, giving themselves a protective coating of spiritual energy, and for a certain group of chosen ones, overpowering the willpower of others. Although all living beings in the One Piece world are capable of learning Haki, most do not notice it or fail to awaken it. According to Kaido, only Haki transcends all and is the true defining factor that determines whether or not someone can conquer the sea. This is unlike Fruit powers, no matter how powerful they may be. Gold D-Watcher is a clear example of this, as he conquered the Grand Line and matched Edward Newgate in his prime, who possessed the power of the strongest paramecia which could destroy the world. Especially very strong users of Haki are able to reverse or stop the effect of other people's Fruits. I surely do not need to remind you, but for clarification's sake, let's list up all the forms of Haki we know real quick. Observation Haki is a powerful tool to sense the world around the user, allowing them to notice the presence, strength and emotions of other people. It also grants the ability to sense their opponent's intentions and to predict their actions and attacks before execution. An advanced level of Observation Haki even allows its user to foresee a short period of the future. Armament Haki is used to create an armor of spiritual energy to defend against attacks, as well as make their own attacks stronger. Also, it is possible to overcome Fruit abilities with it. The Armament Haki can be applied to parts of the whole body of its user, and even weapons can be coated with it. An advanced level of Armament Haki even allows the user to emit the armament a short distance. A higher form of advanced Armament Haki enables its user to emit it into its opponent's body to harm it from the inside. Conqueror's Haki is a way of unleashing its own will onto other beings to influence them or even overpower weaker wills of others. Conqueror's Haki is a very rare form of Haki and only very few people are able to use it. An advanced level of Conqueror's Haki allows the user to infuse their conquering spirit into their weapons and physical attacks, making them way stronger. There's more to this, but these are the basics. Now, let's cover the Fruit Awakenings real quick. It is possible to awaken Fruit powers in some rare cases. This makes its user's abilities way stronger. Kaido said in chapter 1046 that an awakening happens when a Fruit's user's mind and body catch up to their powers. Let's keep that stuff in mind. Okay, now let's get to the meat. As you surely know, our very first display of Haki is Shanks driving away the Sea King that was about to eat Luffy. Nothing really new, and when introduced to the concept of Haki later in the story, every One Piece reader should have noticed that Shanks used Haki to scare the beast away. But while I will mention other characters too, I wanna talk mainly about Luffy in this video. Orangetown. That's right. Pretty early in the story, I found something that piqued my interest. Luffy and Zoro reach Orangetown after sailing aimlessly across the sea. This is the first time we meet our beloved Captain Buggy, who will play a way bigger role in the later story than you might think. I got a theory brewing regarding Buggy, which I will work on in the future. If you don't want to miss it, consider subscribing, and while you are at it, please like the video. This would help me big times. Anyway, Luffy and Zoro reach Orangetown and Buggy is terrorizing the little village. After some back and forth together with Nami, we reach chapter 15, where the mayor of Orangetown, Mr. Boodle, isn't gonna take it anymore. He had enough and is about to confront Buggy and his crew when Luffy smashes his head into the wall to stop him. Do you notice something here? No? Well, actually, that's not the original picture. I played a small joke on you and asked my girlfriend to change the wall. Here's the original. The wall is bending just like rubber. Look at Luffy's face after doing it. He states that the mayor was in the way, but as Zoro mentions, it was good thinking because Boodle would have just marched off to his own death. One could say that the wall bending with the impact of Boodle's pretty face was just a stylish element Oda chose. I say he already had the concept of Luffy influencing his surroundings with his powers in mind back then. He drew the scene and then decided to not further elaborate on it because either himself or an assistant realized that it would be better to keep some things for later. Why do I think so? Simply because the lack of similar scenes later on. I have not gone through the whole manga, but at least until Enies Lobby, I have not seen a similar thing happen. What did Kaido say again? Awakening happens when the devil fruit users' mind and body catch up to their powers. Luffy was determined to fight Buggy and would not let anyone get in his way. I think he did not smack him into the wall to keep him safe. Back then, Luffy was just like this. He did what he felt like, and at the moment the mayor was a burden and in a way. In that moment, his mind and body were able to harness the potential of his ability. Not fully, but in a lesser way. He influenced his surroundings. Okay, I cannot prove that I am right here, but it might be worth considering. Let's take a look at the next moments that caught my attention. In chapter 98, Smoker pays for ice cream. What a nice guy. Okay, now for real. In chapter 99, Luffy is trapped high up on the execution platform in Buggy again by the way, and Buggy is about to chop off his head. But right at the moment that Buggy's sword is about to cut Luffy's skin, we see sparks. Most of the people, me included, always thought that was Dragon's doing. But after seeing what Luffy's awakening can do while fighting Kaido, I had to think the scene over. Luffy is able to wield lightning in this fight against Kaido. So, what if the devil fruit inside of him acted on its own?
Hello there.
As far as we know now, Zoan fruits have a will on their own. And as mentioned in many other videos, we assumed that back then the Gomu Gomu no Mi wanted to be eaten by Luffy. What if the powers inside called forth lightning to literally save Luffy's neck? In my opinion, after the things we know today, we might have to reconsider some aspects about old parts of the story. Alright, let's switch to some possible early moments of Haki in the manga. In chapter 126, Luffy was confronted with several wax clones of Mr. 3. Neither of them was moving, but the moment the original readied his knife, Luffy hit the right one on the first attack. How is that? Mr. 3 even asked how Luffy knew and he answered, instinct. I say it was a form of observation Haki after noticing Mr. 3's killing intent. Alright, on to the next example. This time it's about Zoro. While fighting Mr. 1, he remembers a lesson from his master. There are swordsmen in the world who are able to not cut anything. These are the same people who can cut anything. And as he remembers, he focuses on his surroundings and can hear the breathing of the rocks, the earth, the trees and even his steel, and then he cuts the Iron Man. What do you think he did there? I for sure think he used a mix of observation and armament Haki to accomplish this feat. Well, that was very nice so far, but I want to stay in Alabasta for a bit longer. Do you remember these guys? You know what's really interesting about these fellows? Of course, leaving the extremely stylish birdie headbands they are wearing aside, we see something else. In chapter 196, the elite royal guards of Alabasta attempt to take down Crocodile. Chaka, this guy here, notices black markings on their skin. He states that in order to achieve temporarily superpowers, those four drank a lethal potion. They drank the fatal fuel or hero water. He also states that after drinking this, one has only a few minutes left before they die. I find this very interesting. Black marks on the skin. There is something similar we are getting introduced to way late on the story. Armament Haki. Aren't these guys boosting their powers by gaining temporary access to the art of Haki, but in exchange, because they are not trained in it, their bodies take extreme damage and this leads to their deaths? That is what I read out of it at least. Haki resides in every living being, but for most people it's rare to ever awaken it. Intense training or extreme shock can awaken it. What if this hero water exposes the body to an extreme shock which results into gaining temporarily access of Haki? Enough of that. Let's get to the next example. This is gonna be an ensemble of multiple events within a shorter time period. In chapter 199, Luffy hits Crocodile with his fist and later in the same chapter with his feet. But look what we have here. Is that an early version of Haki lightning being displayed? Luffy states that our Croco boy is afraid of water. That's why he stole the rain. Then he sprays some water on his arm and says, "Now I can hit you." I am saying that the water is not the reason why Luffy hit him. Let me show you more examples. Crocodile can't use powers cause he is a bit wet. If he really thought he can't move, then because he knows of the effect of water on devil fruit users. But in my opinion, it's a placebo effect. Or he doesn't know about Haki. Luffy hit him because of Haki. He can absorb water by contact. A bit of water on his skin or clothes should not be a problem. He does exactly this a few seconds later. He even turns stone into sand. Let me show you SBS volume 41. Rain and dripping water have no effect at all. Therefore, hip baths or showers are the most common choice. Now in Crocodile's case, water is the weakness of his very powers, so his abilities are robbed even in the shower. I think Oda tried to troll us a bit here. He even supports what I am saying. His whole body is dry, and it's only Luffy's fist or feet that are a bit moist. There's no way you can even remotely compare that to being in a shower. So why would a wet arm of Luffy make a difference? A bit later, in chapter 204, Luffy hits him again, and what do we have here again? Crocodile assumes that Luffy used his blood to hit him. That's bogus. What did the elders say in chapter 1044? The warrior of liberation is fighting in whatever way he fancies and bringing smile to the faces of people. Well, what do we have here then? Doesn't this look extremely fancy? And why is Robin laughing here? The situation she's in is nothing to laugh about at all. Look, Luffy's fist even goes through the desert's water. Hello? Just because of a bit of blood? In my opinion, it's pretty obvious that Luffy is using Haki here. He just doesn't know about it. This goes for all the cases I mentioned so far. They all just don't know what Haki is or how to utilize it, but they do use it unconsciously. But there's more. In chapter 210, we see Vivi ending the fight of the armies with sheer willpower. I don't know why it was so easily accepted that just like that it suddenly started raining, and there's no dragon around either this time. I am claiming that she used her will to make this happen. It was a display of Conqueror's Haki. How else can you explain this? We already saw that the weather can drastically change when Conqueror's Haki clashes. Some readers of it even make the sky split. Vivi was going to the utmost of her limits and forced her will upon the people on the battlefield. Oh, and before you say it was Smoker with the rain-making ship, look at the narrator at chapter 212. Natural rain fell on the land for many days, and the Desert Kingdom bloomed again. Also, Luffy tells Vivi in chapter 199, I can hear your voice. How do you think he meant that? Okay, enough of Alabaster. We have way more occasions where we see Luffy or other people using their strong will to achieve something. All the countless instances of mantra on Sky Island aside, we can see in chapter 297 how Luffy destroys Ines Raigo with the gold ball working as conductor? Yep, this science stuff is pretty cool and interesting. But does Luffy know about that? Of course not, man. Luffy is very far from being a physicist. So either he just did whatever and hoped for the best, or he used his strong will to do what he wanted to do and screamed, "Let the sun shine! Let there be light!" And there was light. Say you want to live! Luffy is not convincing Robin. Luffy is representing his will. His voice cuts through the air and reaches her ears and core. This is when Robin realizes that she wants to live. There are many more instances like that, but I think I've shown enough. Also, this video would get too long as well. I am certain that Oda had Haki and the Awakening of Devil Fruits planned right from the start. I showed you a few select scenes that maybe support my thoughts. And I am also certain that the display of Haki is tied to the dawn. You have to do it with a dawn. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then I got more for you right here.